Welcome to episode 203 of the Recluse. My name is Martin Larsen, and you're listening to the podcast about everything Blizzard. It's Sunday, September the 2nd, 2018, and with me today from the Northern land of Irish. Hey, Tom.
Hey, Marty. It's good to finally start the show because we have a set time that we like to start every week, and somebody was late because they had ordered pizza, and their pizza delivery guy got lost.
Sounds like the U.S. Something that happens only in the U.S.
You show up late, Marty. Don't even put this on, Michael. You show up late, and we were like, okay, Marty, but how was the pizza? And you're like, it was mediocre. So you were late for the show for some crappy pizza. I mean, that is just, I don't even know where to start there. But I just had to get that off my chest.
It's not my fault. It's not my fault. He one, couldn't find my place, and two, made a mediocre pizza.
I don't think he made the pizza, did he? I mean, that's probably where the issues are going wrong. If their delivery guy is making the pizza, that's probably where it's going wrong.
Maybe.
Is that what they do over in America, Michael? Kill two birds,
yeah,
one
we're
stone?
overworked. You bake the pizza, you deliver the pizza, and you don't get tipped. It's not that serious, no.
Welcome to America 2018.
All right, let's skip all the pizza talking and get into some real talk, guys. Right?
Do it.
Here I come.
I sense something elusive. Stay a while and listen. Well met. You are not prepared. This better be good. Existence is mysterious.
Loud and clear. Hello there.
Greetings, traveler, and welcome to the Bleeding Cliffs.
At least the chili on the pizza was really good.
I love that that's how you opened it up. Like, at least the chili was good.
It's hard to do chili wrong, though, isn't it?
Well, you can do it on a lot of different ways, and this one was made really, really nicely done chili. It was good.
I feel like you are now the scapegoat for the Recluse, public enemy number one, just the figurehead, the wanted poster. It's got Marty's face on it these days.
What did I do? I mean, what? I just one time said that I liked one cinematic over another one, and all of a sudden I'm the most wanted criminal.
See what happens when you speak? Just don't do it.
See what happens when you give your opinion on things?
Oh my god. Yeah. So how are you guys doing? You've been playing some World of Warcraft by any chance?
Yeah.
Yes.
Lots of stuff actually, and I don't know. I'll probably just kick it off with the Trial of Style because
out of all things to do, Trial of Style.
Trial of Style. We've got Battle for Azeroth. We've got
brand new content,
lore-rich story, but no Trial of Style. I've actually never been subscribed during Trial of Style, I don't think. And to my shock, I went to the transmog guy, and I'm like, the game must be bugged. Transmog is free. I was like writing a guild, like guys, transmog. It doesn't cost anything. What's going on? Like Trial of Style. So yeah, after 14 years playing this game, I finally found the biggest shame, and it's it's not those times that you wiped a raid or you accidentally roll need on someone else's loot. It's getting that consolation prize in Trial of Style. It feels bad, man. It feels really bad because I'd entered this like 3-4 times. I'm like, this time's the time. I'm gonna get on that podium this time. No, I see everyone else up there. I'm sitting there. It's like, oh, here's your little consolation prize. You have no fashion sense whatsoever. And I put together stars like this is gonna win. This is gonna win. I was that positive, and I wasn't even getting on the podium. So I don't know. People must just be not even really looking at the person's transmog. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking it's not. They're not actually paying attention to the detail to the.
I went in and won my
selected.
fourth one.
Okay.
I've never even done it.
I'm putting it down to the fact that when the human, because when you get put onto the, if you've never done this, you go in, you're kind of wearing a disguise. Everyone's wearing like a robe, so they're all covered up like a dressing gown. And then there's like a transmog guy, there's a barber guy. You can customize your character. Then there's a theme that flashes up at the start. This was very confusing the first time I went in. I was like, what the heck am I doing? It takes place in Magistus Terrace, which was a dungeon introduced in the Burning Crusade. So good to see they've recycled that one. And I went in there and like I didn't know what I was doing, and you kind of get thrown up on stage after you've made your transmog selection. You get kind of 2 minutes to do that, and people vote. And you can do some emotions while you're up on stage to show off your transmog. Some people flirt. Some people name their character the Lich King and intimidate other people in the group. You know, there's very many different ways that you can kind of show off. And yeah, I've been playing this a few times over the weekend. It's quite fun. It's quite fun just to, you know, play with your transmog and try and get creative in 2 minutes based on the themes. It's actually, I've pretty enjoyed it. Nice little touch, and mainly just enjoying having free transmog. So now I'm just going through the stages where I'm like, does this helmet really look good though? Because when you've got the little preview, it's just not the same as actually seeing it on your character. So I'm like, does this helmet look good? Transmog, no. Does this helmet look good? Transmog, no. And usually, you know, I would have racked up about 5,000 gold bill, but this weekend it's like, oh, it's all on Blizz. Send this one to Mike Morheim, you know.
So yeah, so have you done it enough times to have enough tokens to actually buy any of the sets?
Yeah, I got one set, like season 2 or something. I didn't really realize they were adding stuff to this each season. I'm not sure if they've added something this time.
They haven't. That's why. Yeah, I actually haven't. Even though I did just rudely interrupt you and said that I won my first one. I went in there. I didn't, because I haven't been in there yet. Because there's no new there's no new transmog set this season. So
there's no incentive to do it. That's what you're saying, Marty. No incentive.
Not for me.
You just don't want to, you know, go in there and
I'm a winner
with your style.
So I don't have to go in there and prove it.
Wow. Jeez. I've never even.
So
done
Michael's
it.
never done it.
No.
Michael's never done it.
I was focused on story content because I fell behind for a while. So I was finishing up Tearsgar Sound, and I finally got all the main questing done. I just have to do the Mythic Dungeon in order to finish up Jaina's little bit. And I'm a little bit off of that. I'm just finally being able to just about get into Heroics. I wasn't able to play much during the week due to work and podcasting at 12:30 at night and things like that. So, but
So
yesterday
we won't
I put in
spoil
hours.
the conclusion of that, but just because you said you finished the main zones,
Mhm.
and I finished the main zones this week, so maybe we could, I don't know, talk for like 5 minutes about.
But did Marty finish the main zones?
No. No, actually, I'm about to finish off it on my alt. So
So there you go. That's the time scale that we're working with. I'm glad to see,
your
Michael,
alt?
that we're kind of on the same.
What's your
time
alt, Marty?
scale.
I know you have an Elemental Shaman as your main this expansion, if I'm
Mhm.
correct. What's your alt?
my alt is my old main. It's my priest.
Okay.
Because I decided to actually level it for 2 reasons. One, because enchanting, it's just a nice way to get materials for enchanting. And second, I was a little bit worried about the state of Elemental Shaman and how everything is, and if I could actually live up to DPS meters and stuff like that. So I was a little bit worried. So I decided to, as a backup, level my priest and gear it and get it ready, because I think that I just went in there as a shadow priest, and I just nuked everything, just started everything up, and everything died, and it felt so good compared to the Elemental Shaman. So
Yeah,
So, yeah.
playing Elemental Shaman post Chris Mattson, bad idea. Bad idea.
but
it was
but
nerfed
then,
into the ground.
yeah, no, I mean I was in a mythic dungeon group with some of the better DPSs from our guild, and I could keep up. So I think everything is pretty good. I'm not one of the highest I leveled either. I haven't gotten full speed as I did last expansion, so I'm a little tiny bit behind on the good old eye level. But I could still keep up, so at least in a dungeon setting. So I'm not too worried anymore, but I still have my priest. It's just fun to
I was surprised when you changed mains, because like I feel like we've talked about this maybe on the show, I don't know, or just outside the show, but when I thought of you, Maya, I was like, you are the priest. Like the priestly ways are kind of it's what you've pretty much played for your entire
Yeah.
career of World of Warcraft, and you dabble in alts, but your priest is always the main thing. So I was shocked when you started leveling up your shaman first, and you were like, "Oh, fancy the change." But I'm like, "But Marty, you're
Why
a
have you
priest."
forsaken the light? You turned your
There's-
back
there's
on
one-
it for the elements.
There's one weird thing though that I never really thought about, and that was that I could just admit it all easy on myself and say that I switched to Shadow Priest. Job done. And then I would still be on my priest. I don't know, that never occurred to me. I think that I never really felt like I was successful as a Shadow Priest either. But looking back, it's
Yeah, can
probably
confirm. Can
because
confirm.
looking back, it's probably because all the gear that I had was for holy, so it was other stats than what I actually needed. So maybe that's why I never really did so well with it, because I mean, just what I've been playing this expansion around so far, it's so much fun, and I feel like I can keep up with other people doing dungeons and stuff. So yeah, maybe I should just have done that in hindsight. But it's a fresh change. It's something new to play shaman, and I can still heal if I really have to and things like that. So it's just good fun. Try something else, shake things up.
See, I find it really hard to do that. I mean, I've main paladin since the end of Burning Crusade. And
I saw your Facebook post today, Tom. I think it's about time you get out of that old habit of playing paladin and try something new.
I don't know, it's just really hard because I mean my first like vanilla World of Warcraft, and you know this, Marty, I was always playing an alt. I was always leveling something. You were like, "Tom, come help us level 60."
No,
I'm
I'm
leveling
too,
an alt.
too busy.
I'm too busy leveling an alt.
Alt number
Now
100.
I'm just in this different space where I'm like, I can't do it. I can't go back and play something else. I've got a Void Elf on ice. I'm waiting for Amanda, my girlfriend, to unlock Void Elf so we can maybe take one of those through the old zones with the new leveling system. But even the prospect of just going for everything again, making me feel a bit nauseated. The fact that I lose all my reputations, which I pride myself as a human. I've been like almost at the 80 reputation mark. It's just painful, and I know.
Is it also for you, because I know that's one of my concerns also, because some expansions where I haven't been in a raiding guild, I actually have switched things up and played other characters as my main through that expansion or whatever, and every time I'm like, but my achievement points. I need my achievement points on my
It's so
priest.
important. It's so important. The fact that that's not account wide and it's kind of
It is
balanced.
mostly. A lot of it is.
Yeah, but if you look in the guild tab,
Yeah, I know.
and you sort it by achievement points, and you're playing on an
Yeah.
alt, people don't respect you. People don't respect you if your alt point or your alt points, achievement points, is in like the 10,000s, even 20,000s.
One
You
thing
know what, Tom? That's all in your head. You need to let that shit go and get on the alt leveling.
The
Doesn't
real
matter.
reason why I don't want to level at all is because I saw the stat. It takes 12 hours to get from level 100 to 110. That's after however long it takes you to get from 1 to 100. And that alone deters me from really wanting to do an alt without just boosting it. But I don't want to pay $60 for a character.
How
Come on,
far
Blizzard,
we
that's
have
ridiculous.
fallen. Like,
That's
he's
ridiculous.
complaining about 12 hours. I mean, Michael, it used to take.
You know what? No,
12
no, no.
hours.
I'm gonna stop you right there. Okay. Yes, I know that it used to. Okay, but guess what? This
Back
isn't
in the
2004
days,
anymore.
Michael.
Okay, get over
Back in
it.
the days.
The fact that something used to be worse does not mean that it's okay for it to do it this way. Okay.
They even reduced it now, Michael. It's so easy.
Oh,
you could
yeah?
have like I don't know, 10 alts.
I want
in
to
a very
play
short
other
time.
things. Okay. I can barely find the time to play what I'm supposed to right now.
So I've got a friend and he's leveling up through Battlegrounds actually, and he says it's a really good way if you just
is.
want to PvP and you get some pretty decent XP for winning.
Oh yes. I
As
mean,
well.
just when I leveled my priest, I did it like obviously I did questing, but then sometimes I sugared up with doing some dungeons if I had quests for it, and then if I didn't have quests for it for a dungeon, then instead of going to a dungeon, I went to a battleground. And for win, you get like, I don't know, 1/4 of a level or something like that. It's crazy how much XP you get. And then you might say, hold on, you're playing Alliance, so and they never win battlegrounds. But actually,
But they do now.
it seems like we do when we are leveling, not at max level, but while leveling, it seems like there's a chance to actually win it. But no, generally, jokes aside, it actually gave so much XP. I think like the last level, 1.5 level or something like that. I mostly just did battlegrounds. I did like 5 battlegrounds, and then I was done. Over and done with.
There is so many options now, though, isn't there? Because
Mm.
I know, and I'm not probably the person to comment about the issues that they're still having maybe with the leveling, because it's still a bit of a grind. But you do have dungeons, you do have battlegrounds, you have pet battles, and you can
Turn on war mode.
turn on war mode, get that extra 10%. You get your XP through mining and herbing and all that jazz, and you've got quests.
Pit battling.
Pet battling. Pet battling's in there as well. I think you get XP for archaeology, which you can do as well. So just these little things. And I don't know, I feel like if you haven't really done that process,
Just play the game and you level up.
if you haven't, yeah, play the game.
Run
but I mean,
around.
if you haven't done that process, and I feel like I burnt myself out on that process just back in the day. And even though Cataclysm came along and it overhauled a lot of things, it's still, it's just the thought of going to like Nagrand or something, or doing Hammett Nessing, where
if you actually go to Nagrand these days, then you're terrible at leveling. You basically just level in the starting zone. What's it called? The Peninsula Hellfire. Yeah, and then you're done with that expansion. That's how fast you level these days.
Yeah, I know. I guess it's. I've got the Void Elf on Ice. I said that, and I am looking forward to maybe kind of revisiting that with War Mode on as well, and taking a Void Elf out for a spin, and maybe having that as a little Warcraft side project that I'm not in any rush ever to get to max level, because I think once you start looking at the end game, because that's where everything starts, nobody's denying that. When you're taking a character and you're like, I want to take this to end game, I think that's when the frustration kicks in. And we've talked about like your American Adventure, Marty, that you went over.
Oh man, I just removed it from my.
Damn, we don't have the sound. We
soundboard.
don't have the sounder. Marty's American Adventure. You went over there and you were just like playing it casually. You were reading quest text and just embracing that side of things again. And I think it is important to try and remember that. And this kind of went off on a tangent because I was asking Michael about the zones, because we just finished the zones. So maybe we'll bring it back to that.
Bring it back.
Bring it back. So we all three of us now have finished the kind of main zones alliance, playing maining alliance. But I don't know, Michael, what did you think? This being kind of your first proper expansion, how did you feel? Which kind of zone for you stuck out?
Drusvar.
Yeah.
Drusvar is my favorite zone easily. Everybody was talking about like Tearsguard Sound and like the storyline there, and while I do enjoy it, Drusvar was by far my favorite. Like the idea, it's kind of like the American Salem witch trials. I was talking with Sil about this the other night. It's just like that type of stuff. That's right up my alley. I love horror movies. I love that vibe. So that was so good. Like the storyline. And can I just say that what's her name? Lucille Waycrest, the daughter.
Yep.
That girl has some fortitude, man. The things that she saw, and she's still coming out the other end. Like she is like strong-willed, because there was some crazy stuff going on over there.
Talk about a bad day at the office.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. But I think Tearsguard Sound is probably my least favorite to navigate. Just due to I like that it kind of just like rolls right into Borealis, where like it's all like kind of very similar and it's one big city, and it does kind of feel like a game where you go down an alley and then all of a sudden you're in the wrong neighborhood. That's how it feels, because if you start roaming around trying to make your way somewhere, all of a sudden there's the Ashvane crew ready to take you down. So I do like that, but Drusvar by far was my favorite zone.
I feel like Marty's going to say that as well.
Yeah, I totally have to agree. That one zone, I love the story. I love the vibe.
You guys went there first, though, right? You guys went there first?
I did.
No.
I did.
I went there. Was it second? No, second. I went there second. I started out in Storm Zone, and I mean, I really enjoyed that zone. It brought back a lot of memories from Pandaria. It reminded me a lot of from Pandaria, and I liked the storyline in it. And we had a little bit of well, we didn't have some old god things going on at the end of the zone. That was not fun at all. Never experienced that. But besides that, the zone was pretty good. I really enjoyed it all the way around. But Wow was just so much better. I really, really enjoyed the storyline, and even going back to it later on in the Jaina storyline that I guess you're about to finish off, Michael, and Tom is
Are you
working on
talking
it.
about like the ethereal realm type deal?
Yeah, Save Jaina. The whole storyline.
I did
with
that
Save
part.
Jaina.
I did that part where like you go into like
Tom
the
is-
nightmare.
Yeah. Tom is still working on that.
Okay.
So no spoilers.
That's why I was like, let's not talk about that, Michael. But it's okay.
I didn't give anything
But I
really
mean,
away.
the quest line goes through all three zones, which is pretty cool that you actually get to go back to them. And
Yeah, I actually like that because you grow some attachment to these zones when you're leveling up, and then kind of when you do hit 120, it's not like, oh, let's just forget about these zones. They're just world quest hubs now. They're sending you back into the world, keeping it relevant, and I actually did like that touch, especially like the inclusion of dungeons as well, putting that into the mix and kind of making all that relevant as well. It's definitely a nice touch.
That's something that they did at the end of during Legion as well, was that whole dungeon wrapping up the questing, and it did the same thing here. But my problem with that is that I did it at the end of the quest, and then after I finished everything else, then they sent me back into those dungeons to do a different part of a different quest, and I was a bit upset about that because I made the switch to Ret Paladin. No, I made
play. You actually have to play the game. Oh
no,
my God,
I have
Michael.
no problem with that. The problem is the queues as a DPS right now. I was waiting like 30 minutes plus just to get.
I thought you were a paladin. Man.
I am a prep. I was leveling as a prop paladin, but I started making the switch to Ret so that I can raid. I can't raid as the protection paladin in my guild because they already have tanks. So I have to switch to Ret, and I wanted to get the gear.
Why don't you just go in as prot though?
In what?
In dungeons.
I don't know. Sometimes if I don't know,
He doesn't want the responsibility. You can see it in his face.
That's part of it. That's part of. Yesterday I was sitting here and Wakecrest Manor. I really like it, but I don't like that. It's kind of like how do you say what is it?
A maze.
Karazhan? Yeah, it's like Karazhan, where like if you don't know where you're going, people are gonna start raging at you.
Well,
because
the
it
thing
can
is,
be one of those ones where you're walking around a lot.
With Wakecrest Manor, the thing is that it's like or what's it called, the prison dungeon from
Tol Dagor?
Legion.
Oh
No,
never
from
mind.
Legion, where the way you go through it is different every week because some doors are locked and other doors are open and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So no tanks can find their way around that dungeon.
Yeah, I
Just bring a
don't
guide.
like that
Bring a
one.
guide.
I don't like that aspect of it. Otherwise, I love it. Like it wraps up the story beautifully. And I do want to say that doing some of the war campaign, the Blood Troll zone, I think is Nazmir. In on the Horde side, holy crap, that zone is wonderful. Like it's all swampy, and when you get into like the Blood Troll area, like their architecture and the blood everywhere, like it lives up to its name.
They're doing weird stuff over there.
They are doing weird stuff, and it's pretty awesome. Like I
If
really
you have
wanted
any
to boost the
questions
character, but I
about
don't
the
have
Horde
money.
not being the bad guys, they're doing some freaky stuff over
The
there.
Blood Trolls are not part of the Horde.
It wouldn't surprise me if the Horde try and recruit them as an allied race eventually, just because like you guys are doing freaky stuff, we're doing freaky stuff.
Let's
Let's
get
all do
freaky
freaky
together.
stuff.
No. But I mean, that's why you have a guild, and that's why you have friends, Michael.
Yeah, the guild
I was
is
gonna-
doing all mythics and stuff, and I'm just like, hey, I'm like 303 eye level over here. I can't quite do it yet.
That was something I was going to bring up actually. The fact that if you're not in a guild or have a community playing World of Warcraft right now, I could understand that you maybe run into a lot of difficulties because I've noticed it just out in the world, maybe joining a dungeon and there's a couple of randos in it, that people don't really seem to communicate. And this could just be me, but just from that perspective of being out in the world and maybe you emote at somebody or heal somebody or help someone out of a tight spot or anything like that, I haven't had any interaction with anybody, despite just sometimes trying to subtly force that, just like, hey, stuff like that.
I-
And it's really weird. From an MMO perspective, it is weird, and I don't really like it. And I try to still be social, but a lot of times it's just like people are just so.
It's difficult. It's hard. I remember just as a priest just buffing a random person that ran by me, and they would actually turn around and say thank you or whisper you and say thank you or things like that. And nowadays people don't even register it, I think.
It's
I mean,
expected that you buff me if you see me in wild.
I mean, you're not expecting somebody like everybody to like whisper you thank you or anything, because it's just like
No.
you see someone in the world, you toss them a heal, you toss them a buff, that's fine. But I just noticed that nobody ever says anything.
If I see someone who has pulled too much and he's about to die, I jump in and heal him
Yeah.
and try to help him.
Thank you. That happened to me.
Yeah.
Somebody I grabbed their aggro for them because they were a DPS and they had a bunch of things, and I was the tank, so I grabbed their aggro to help them out, and they left once I grabbed the aggro.
I know. It's like, who are these people? And why are they everywhere? And why don't they? And I know some
I
people
died.
just want to play the game. Like some people just want to play the game and they're not really interested in that. But I feel like if that is your mindset, even that kind of basic interaction, you are missing big things. Because I'll bring it up again just because I can, Michael. Back in the days of Classic, like we wouldn't be sitting on this podcast if we took that attitude of, oh, there's a random person in Strangleform Vale, I'm not going to talk to that person. Just chance meetings in game can lead to some absolutely beautiful things and friendships. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you just say hi.
Sometimes it doesn't, and we end out on a weird podcast with random people.
I wasn't met in game.
Sometimes it doesn't, and you just part ways, and that is fine. But it's just, I don't know, it's just weird for me. I'm just like, I'm glad I'm in a guild, because if I wasn't, I don't think I would be enjoying this game as much. And I know it's probably a cliche that it's like, yeah, well, you have to be in a guild, to raid, to be more successful, to group stuff. But I don't know, it just feels like there's something missing now. Just that whole being out in the world and trying to galvanize people together, like with war mode, for example. If there's a group of horde attacking you, and a few times I've been riding and chatting oh, does any, it's like, it's crickets, man. It's like crickets. I'm like,
maybe it's just on your end, because when I have war mode on,
maybe I'm just blocked by everybody. Maybe that's what it is.
When I had war mode on, the chat was lit up with people like, hey, who wants to go kill hordes? Who wants to go do this? The chat was actually active.
Maybe it's maybe it's a European thing.
In terms of actually going and killing horde members, people are really into that in America.
I've never played. I've never played World of Warcraft on US side. I don't know, Marty. When you were leveling, did you notice any difference?
I actually do think there's a little bit. I think there's a cultural difference as well, because on the EU side, we have a lot of different countries playing the game, so we have a lot of different cultures. Also, sometimes cultural clashes. Who doesn't remember good old Hakar, Tom? With all the Italians, for instance, things like that. Whereas I think when you get to the US side, you have people from the same country who shares the same culture, the same feelings.
That's not true. We have people from Georgia. All right.
No, but you get what I mean, right? Because
somebody in the chat is specifically saying it's the European problem. It's Europeans. I'm not gonna say. I'm not gonna bring attention to their name. Because...
It's one of those people from Georgia. I'm telling you.
Probably.
No, well, I totally think there is a cultural difference as well. I did feel a little bit more welcome, and in the US servers when just chatting with random people on the servers and things like that. But not being said that we have nothing like it in the EU, because we do as well. I just feel like it's a, I don't know. I think it's just a cultural difference, to be honest.
There's probably a tax chat in the US, though, is there, Michael? You have to pay some sort of tax on chatting.
I don't know. I don't chat. Maybe that's why.
But don't know. So yeah, we talked a lot about World of Warcraft and what we've been doing, and not about all the news that we wanted to talk about. So maybe we should jump into that really quick. Just get it over with, so we can get back to play some more World of Warcraft. I know, Tom, you need to do a dungeon, so
I do. I also need to have dinner because I wait after I record the podcast to have dinner. There we go.
Okay. Well, while we are at World of Warcraft, and how about we stay with World of Warcraft and talk a little bit about what's going on in there, and the quest to unlock the latest allied races is now people are starting to hit that exalted rep with the 7th Legion that you need, and are starting to so we'll slowly start to see what is it, the Dark Iron Dwarves and some another troll race, right, on the.
No,
Oh no, it's the
orc.
It's the
Magtar orc.
Maghar orcs, right?
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
the
Sorry, it's
just
the
the
orc,
same orcs as you normally had, but
but
just-
different.
just a little different.
Well, it's the same dwarf that we already had, but different.
No, Dwarf dwarfs are way different from normal dwarfs. They are like cool dwarfs. They're cool.
Hey,
This
I
is
like the regular
first-
dwarves.
This is the first time ever I've been tempted to roll a dwarf. Like,
Oh, really?
yeah,
The thing is, there's very limited races that can be shamans as well. So I don't really know because I'm not too happy about Draenei. But there's no alternative that I like.
Well, you
so
know, back in Tom's day, Alliance couldn't even play Shaman, so I don't know why you're complaining about it.
touche, Michael,
You're-
touche.
Sorry, I rest my case. I'm happy about being Draenei Shaman. There we go. But no, how you guys at max level? How do you feel about you have to raise the 7th Legion all the way to Exalted to unlock this?
I think it's fair
Um,
enough, isn't it? It's current content. You're playing the game anyway. Obviously, they put it behind gating. You know, it's what Blizzard like to do. They like to put things. Don't want you to get everything at once. Probably a little strange because allied races is a main selling point of the expansion. I think my issue kind of lies with the kind of Void Elves and Lightforged Draenei being attached to previous expansion content. And I actually wanted to ask you guys about like how do you feel? You know, maybe you were invested in Legion and you played Legion, so you got this rep. So therefore, when this expansion comes out, you're like, "Yep, I can have access to this this race straight away because I was invested in the last expansion." So that's kind of like my reward for being dedicated. How do you kind of feel about that sort of mindset?
So I have a question about it first, and that's, do you have to do them both on the Horde and the Alliance respectively? Because
no, if you
whatever war faction you have, like if you get those to Exalted, then you have access to both.
how is it again? That's the Horde classes are the Nightborn, and so you need the Nightborn rep from Legion. I
Mhm.
had that on my Alliance character, so I had unlocked it because it's an achievement. It's not the rep actually; it's an achievement. It's locked behind, so I got the achievement,
Mm-hmm.
and
It's
then
like
I
the
could just,
Insurgents or something. Is it like the
yeah, I think so.
the storyline in Suramar?
Yeah, so you actually only have to
Insurrection,
do it.
Insurrection, I think it's called.
Yeah, you only have to do it once in your account. So since I already had that at Exalted, and also the Tauren, I had those at Exalted, so I got the achievements. I could just log over and unlock them on my Horde straight away.
Yeah,
And then
I hope that this one works the same way.
it won't though
Oh,
because because it's a Horde faction. So High Mountain Tauren were unlocked for having High Mountain rep, and Alliance and
Mhm.
Horde were both able to acquire that. So
Yeah.
obviously you would have unlocked that. But now I think I'm not exactly sure who the Horde reputation is to unlock.
I can't remember the name.
So I don't mind it if I could get it, like, if I have to go through the rep on one character, that's fine. Like, I'll do that. Like, I did that in Legion, it's fine. I got it, all of those allied races. But if I have to do it with the 7th Legion just for the Dark Iron Dwarves, and
Yeah.
I don't have the option to then use it for Maghar Orcs as well, then I'm gonna be a little bit upset because I don't have a Horde character. And what if I did all that stuff on
So
my
why
main?
do you?
Because
so if
what
you
if
don't
I
have a Horde
wanted to
character, why
level?
do you-
What if I wanted to level a Horde character and I wanted that Maghar
Yeah, so then you
Orc?
have to
So
level-
now I have
you
to
have to
level
level
up
2
all the
characters.
way. I have to grind out that rep again, just so that I could create a new character to level up once again all the way up. So it just seems like it's a lot. It's
Well, Michael,
Yeah.
back in classic Warcraft, we didn't even have allied races, so you shouldn't complain about having more choice these days.
I don't have the choice if I don't have the rep.
But you could choose to do the rep.
So that's again, I guess that's another question. That's
I
putting
think
a
my
priority on
main
picking your side. Picking your side at the
yeah.
start. You're like, okay, I'm Alliance, I'm Horde, and I know this probably expansion more than ever. A lot of people are playing for both sides because they want to see the story, and there's kind of unique content on both sides. So I think we're probably going to see it eventually made a lot easier to unlock these ally
I
races.
I
Do you
really
think?
hope so. I really hope so that they have some sort of catch-up mechanic for the rep, because when you hit exalted, you have no more ways to get exalted with them besides doing daily quests, world quests, and the weekly island expedition quest. Besides that, you have no other means but those ways to do it. And I mean, you only get like, what is it, 100 rep or 75 rep or something like that for a world quest, unless it has like the extra token and things like that. So I really feel like it's a big grind. People who have got it now, who has unlocked it now, has cleared the map of the world quest every day to get to it. And I think,
That's
I mean, it's fine that they want to do it, but I mean, just me, I'm just taking it easy. I'm not in a hurry to unlock it. I do wish though there was more options on how to gain the rep, but I feel like it is a little bit it's very grindy to do. And I mean, even with you can get contracts, which is like a basically just you buy a contract for the faction you want to gain extra rep with, and then you get a is it like
10 extra rep
10,
or something like that.
10 extra rep for every world quest you do, and you can get that for all the reputations except the 7th Legion and the Horde equivalent. So yeah, I hope that they do something so it will be easier or quicker or whatever, besides rolling a human, to get it in the future.
Dusty in the chat is saying, I think it's nice to have some things you have to work for, something to show
I
off.
don't mind. I don't
You're-
mind working for it, but
You're interrupting me. I'm telling you what Dusty's saying. Tell everyone
Okay,
what
sorry.
Dusty's saying.
but
Jeez,
Dusty,
come on.
Dusty should be on the show. Then.
So anyway, he's saying something to show off. I know I'm in the minority here, but I'm not a hardcore raider, and I don't have the looks from Ring 1. I don't know what that means. But I put the grind to unlock the allied races at the end of Legion. Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean,
Silence.
when you played Legion, I mean, at that point when they added the allied races, most people who had been playing through Legion already had those reputations unlocked pretty much or close to it, because just doing your world quests and you'll automatically get that rep and you don't really notice it, and all of a sudden you hit exalted. And they even added, because I think a lot of people were hitting exalted, and then they added the reputation paragon level, where you got extra chests or whatever, extra loot every time you could keep leveling your rep afterwards.
And Falmar Krava raises a good point as well, because I'm always up for bashing Blizzard for horde bias. So she's saying, I love the idea of unlocking them. It's a reward for doing things, but I'm just frustrated because I didn't get the rep from the Legion dudes. I have to keep going back outside of BFA, whereas the horde ones are there like exalted with classes that you actually got to leveling with Legion. So I think that's about like the Alliance allied side. Allied race is like the Void Elf and the Lightforged Draenei. You couldn't really start farming your reputation for those until the last patch. When that was introduced, whereas the Horde side were Nightborn and High Mountain Torum, where everyone was pretty much exalted with those straight away. So Alliance did get a little bit shafted with that. But they did get Void Elves, which is way cooler. So
that is actually a good point, and I've read that before, so that is a valid point, to be honest.
Now I like this question personally, which is, would you guys rather them be something that comes with a patch and not have any gating? That's from Dusty.
No, I don't mind working for it. As I said, I just feel like the grind to Exalted is very, very steep at the moment, because you don't really get that much rep from it. To be honest, I would rather have like a long quest line that introduces me to the race and things like that and tells a story, because I think I talked with my roomie about this, because he played through the Void Elf stuff, and it's like a 1 week work. You remember back in Legion, we got some quests every week in the last patch on Argus, where every week we unlocked a new area, and that's only 1 week worth of questing that actually explains who the Void Elves are. Whereas, we spend a whole zone in High Mountain and a whole zone in Night. What's it called? With the
Surma.
Nightborn, Surma, yeah. Whereas as the other ones, you spend really limited time with it, and it could be. I would think it would have been really, really. I know there is a scenario and some questing when you get to Exalted to unlock it, but it would be cool to get like a long quest line that explains who these races are and why they are and things like that. Because who are the Dark Iron dwarves? Do everybody here know that? Because they weren't really part of the Alliance until like Cataclysm or something like that.
Yep, you got to read those books if you want to know who exact. Because aren't they the dudes that I was killing in?
I was about to say, like, when I was leveling, I took out a few.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's it called? Searing Gorge. What's the other one called?
Yeah, and then Blackrock Mountain, and I mean,
What's
there's
another one called? There's like Searing Gorge, Blackrock Mountains in the middle,
Burning
and then there's
Steeps.
Burning Steps or Steeps, however you guys say it. Yeah. So that's a good point. That is a good point. And I don't know. I feel like I don't mind doing a bit of rep grinding, but I just feel like in a couple of patches they're probably gonna be like, oh yeah, you don't need the rep for the Void Elves anymore or something like that. And it's like, oh, people rush out to get that, and if you're not really that kind of hot for it, you could probably just leave it to the side, and then eventually it's going to be, they're just going to pull the curtain up and you're going to have access to that. And it's just more about this exclusive content that if you do the grind, that you get it early. And maybe that is just one of the core concepts of MMOs. It's just if there's a
I don't
grind in
mind
there,
that. I don't
someone's
mind that
always
so
going to be willing
much.
to do it.
I don't mind that
No,
so
but-
much as other people, where they're like, oh, I'd hope it never becomes something like that. Like an allied race, I think it should be available to everybody. And I'm okay with the idea of put the grind in early to unlock it early. Eventually it'll become a lot easier, but that'll be way later on down the line. Like I'm actually okay with that type of model, because it kind of gives those people that want to be with the fresh new tech. It's kind of like buying something brand new, a piece of tech. Like, it's going to be more expensive, but you're going to be part of that elite group that has it first and foremost, and then everyone else will get it later on. It'll be cheaper and it'll be easier, but you had it before everyone else did. So if you're
You
able
queued
to do
overnight for your new shiny allied race. You
Yeah.
had a sleeping bag and you waited outside the allied race store for the new model to be released. That was how hardcore you were.
Yeah.
I don't mind.
But to
that
be
so
honest,
much.
I'm not too bothered with the dwarves, the Dark Iron dwarves, because I'm looking forward, and I'm really looking forward to the Culturian humans. That's when I will be doing crazy grinding and no sleep, and I need them.
But probably by the time that comes out, when you really be exalted with everything that
Now they're gonna release something new that you have to
oh,
grind for.
the,
I don't know if that's true. I'm just saying, like, it's just...
you have to grind rep with the seagulls. You have to be exalted with just a faction of seagulls.
You have to go through a dungeon without pulling any seagulls.
Yeah,
But
and
there's-
you're not allowed to have any poop land on you. If you get pooped on, you lose.
But to be honest, if you don't really care too much, then just play the game and you will eventually get to Exalted, because you get the rep automatically by doing the world quest and things like that. So yeah. Let's move on to let's stay in World of Warcraft land, because I found the most important lore forum post ever made.
Do we have shocked music, or I feel like that is a big statement. That is
Okay.
something you need to back that up with.
I found one of the most important lore forum posts ever made.
Now you better deliver something.
I
good.
better deliver. I clicked the link. I did not have the website open to begin
Oh,
with.
okay. That's
So
good enough.
here we go. I will read this out loud, and then we can discuss it. It's a big discussion on an MMO champion
Oh no!
forums
Not
about.
MMO.
It's
No,
about
no! Abort!
it's about Sylvanas Windrunner, and here you go. Have you seen her pearly whites? They are immaculate. There isn't really dentist toothbrushes or toothpaste in World of Warcraft. I assume oral hygiene would be a bit lacking. On top of that, Sylvanas is undead and really old. I'm sure she has seen some shit. There is no way she would still have her teeth. Undead racial is cannibalized. Have you seen the average, not even 100-year-old cannibal teeth? Not so pretty. I want my fantasy bliss.
Um, if you want your fantasy, then Sylvanas wouldn't be such a babe if she was undead, right?
I think actually I know why Sylvanas has perfect teeth, and it's because every Hallow's End, she's going around all the trick or treats, and she's getting those little bags, and she's keeping those shiny toothpicks. Marty, she's got a
That's
bag full
why.
of shiny toothpicks.
That's why I
And-
never got that toothpick back in the days.
Yeah, so this is just I feel like I better fill you guys in this little meme. 1 year, all Marty needed was to complete the achievement. I think I'm just gonna say it was the last achievement he needed for a long strange trip as well, just for the whole thing, and to get the mount and
Pretty
everything.
much.
And he just needed to get that shiny toothpick from one of the loot boxes or the what are they called? Loot things,
Loot
bags,
sacks.
loot. Yeah. And he couldn't get it, and the event ended, and he had to wait a whole year to get that shiny toothpick. So
Yep.
you had to be there. It was funny.
Yep. It was not.
It was funny, Mike. I swear, Michael, it was funny at the time.
It was not funny.
It was funny in vanilla.
Anyway, I love the forum post about how some people take it very seriously and other people are just having a field day making fun of it. But I just when I saw the title, I just had to go read what it was all about. It's so funny to read, and people
maybe
have
she-
like
Maybe she made a deal. And she's
Yeah.
like, pearly whites for
Yeah.
some heinous crimes. It's a fair trade.
Burns the plaque off.
All right, let's jump into just a little bit more general Blizzard because Blizzard now has all the comics, collected them all in one handy place. Is that something you dig, Tom?
I really misheard what you just said there, but I'm gonna brush it off and say yes. Blizzard have like a digital. I'm not gonna call it a comic store because you don't have to pay for these; they're all free. But they've rounded up all their Overwatch comics, Heroes of the Storm comics, Hearthstone comics, World of Warcraft comics in one little handy place that you can just go to, and you can download these for free. You can put them on your iPad like I do, and I just think this is awesome that they're producing this digital content. And sometimes maybe you want to go back and read that McCree Overwatch digital comic, and you're like, where is it online, you're looking for it. Now you just go to this one place. They're all going to be here, and I'm assuming they're, whenever a new one comes out, they're just going to update it. It's sorted by games, and that's what's really cool because I actually didn't realize just how much content they had made with regards to these comics. And it's just nice to see them all in like one kind of column as well, and be like, oh, look at all this, like look at all these comics. And maybe it just makes me want to do what Marty did and print them all off and make like a physical copy as well.
Yeah, and actually, I think they should do this with all their content, also like the short stories and things like that. Because a few weeks back when we did like the Savannah, the show where we talked about Savannah's burning up the tree and things like that, I went in research mode and researched a lot of her back history and
Her dental records, yeah.
her dental records. I have a copy of them, and what's his face? His Nathanis as well. And Nathanis' research actually brought me onto the official World of Warcraft site to their short story section, and I realized there's actually quite a few short stories in there that I haven't read because I don't know, I must have missed them or whatever. For some reason there was some that I hadn't read. So I would love for them to do this with short stories as well and digital shorts and all this. Just make an archive with all of it. That would be really, really cool because I think there's a lot of stuff that people might have missed out there.
You can actually get pretty lost on the Warcraft website if you kind of go into a lot of old links as well, because there was also this section of the site, and it's not related to digital content, but it was about their patches that they released for World of Warcraft, and like every single patch, and they give like a summary of like what it was about and kind of the story. And was like, whoa, if someone was coming back here and they would read through all the old patches. And I think it's kind of cool to look back and see, all those kind of named content patches that they put into the game, and just reading about kind of the history of the MMO as well. Because I know, like, if I go try a new MMO out, that I'm like, oh, they just had a a content patch, and then maybe I look back and see what happened in the past and what got added in the past, and it just gives you like an idea of what kind of content gets added to a game like that as well.
Mm. Yeah, I think there's definitely a lot of stuff on the World of Warcraft website. You can spend hours clicking through and just reading random stuff.
It's
Yep.
not
So
just
we'll
that.
stick it.
It's not just that, but there were comics, I think, for StarCraft 2 that initially when
Yes.
they were released, you had to actually play the game and unlock them and read them there. So I think it's nice to.
What?
I think it's nice
And
to
nobody
have those
did-
available.
And they found out that nobody actually did it, so they had to release it through other means.
Tom, you started
we'll
this
play-
call today, right? So you could just get rid of him.
I could do that. I mean, it's very tempting. We'll throw a link in our show notes on our website for
How to delete
the
Marty.
comics.
Oh.
How to delete Marty. No, for the comics. For the comics, they're in one little handy place. So definitely bookmark that, because I've done that, and that's where they're all going to go now.
It's a good move.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. So, nothing else interesting happened, right? Nothing big to talk about.
There's still
Nope.
one more thing on the show notes. At least one
No,
more.
it's such a small thing. Nobody knows about this. It's not like loot boxes has been banned, right?
They have actually.
What?
Yes.
In Belgium.
In
Don't
Belgium.
forget Belgium. Don't forget that.
So this
Oh, yeah.
this is an extension of the wonderful fiasco that happened with EA and pay to win loot boxes and all that nonsense. So in Belgium, it has come to the conclusion that loot boxes is falling under their gambling laws, and therefore they will actually not be available for purchase in game. That covers Overwatch and Heroes of the Storm. That doesn't mean that they can't earn them. They can play the game and earn them, but they are removed and no longer available for purchase in Overwatch and Heroes of the Storm and other games along that nature. Blizzard said something about how they're disappointed in the decision that was made, and of course that they'll do what they're supposed to and remove the option to purchase them. But they'll still be available to earn, but it might signify something that might happen in the future to other games, and just the process that some countries are taking to combat this habit of people purchasing loot boxes to the extreme.
And also, now it has happened in one EU country. So the thing is that it could actually, other countries could take this case as an example and actually, include these laws in their own countries as well. And I think that's the most worrisome part of all this. That our countries, well, not Brexit Tom over there, but
Why do you think we voted to leave? We knew this was coming, Marty. We were
They
like,
knew
"Well,
the
what?"
loot boxes were getting the hammer. They're like, we need to
This is
get
it.
out of here.
They hired out buses. They painted the side of them with signs that would say, "Keep your loot boxes," and nothing to do with the NHS saving billions every month. It was about loot boxes. It's always been about loot boxes. And Britain, we came together again. We said, like, nope, this is not going to happen. We want our loot boxes, and that's what happened.
Now,
Yeah.
it's not in that article, but I actually just watched a video this morning. Some people might know the name by Riker. He was talking about this, and now, obviously here in the US we have the ESRB, and I think, is it the EU or is it Britain that has the PEGI?
Peggy, yeah.
Peggy
Peggy
is
13.
Peggy is similar, but they incorporated something into it that says that all games will now have a thing on the box. It used to only apply to digital games, but now it'll say things like in-game purchase. Like in-game purchases available. Kind of like when you get a mobile app, if it's free to play, you usually see right next to it, in-game purchases available. So now that will be a thing. And he goes a lot more into depth about how that's not really like, hey, we're helping out the consumer here. It's more like helping out the companies. So we'll have to see if that will be enough to keep people off their back for a while in terms of loot boxes, or if the people who are doing this in these other countries are going to be like, we don't care that you put that there, we don't want it, we're going to get rid of it. So
I know I was joking about this, but I actually think that the whole kind of loot box thing, it's something that probably does have to be addressed in some way. I'm not saying they should be banned outright, but I think it does play on tendencies that you would potentially have when you're gambling. And I'm not saying, everyone here is like spending all their money and on loot boxes, but it could definitely generate a habit with, maybe somebody that plays the game and starts just starts something, it just starts that tendency of, oh, I'm gonna put something into this. I feel like it is something that maybe needs to be
What should I
monitored.
spend all my money on now?
yeah, 20 quid here in a game, who knows what that might evolve into.
No, but I'm saying like there's definitely like companies are taking advantage of this, and you see it in mobile games specific. I'm not saying it's every game, and I feel like if you have that.
I think this should hit down hard on mobile games instead. Leave Blizzard alone.
I mean,
No,
I mean,
Blizzard
that's-
needs to be held accountable too.
I think we're taking a dangerous path. We're taking a dangerous path with loot boxes. I'm not saying that right now it's disaster zone, but I feel like maybe something needs to be addressed now, so that further down the line we don't get to the stage where it's just like chaos. We've formed all these people that started gambling on loot boxes, and now they're homeless because they just took this dark path. I'm not saying it's going to happen to everyone, but I feel like yes, it definitely has to be addressed at some point.
Yeah, I definitely. If I have to be serious for a moment, then I have to. Then I actually think that I prefer the World of Warcraft shop way, where you see the mount and you see the price, and then you can choose, I want to pay this for this mount. Whereas in Heroes of the Storm, you don't really know what you get on in Overwatch. You don't really know what you're getting. You're buying a lottery ticket instead. So if I could go in the shop and buy that really lush Mercy skin, then I would definitely do that. I would still spend money on it if it's cool content. So I think that's where I actually want to see it all going. I want to see prices on specific things instead of loot boxes, maybe.
And I think that does address maybe that side of things, but I think it opens up like another kind of worlds where you just go into a game and you've got all these cosmetics, you've got all these prices beside them, and like I don't know, I know that companies have to like raise capital through other methods because the way kind of video games gone, it's still really accessible, from an entry point, but there's some really nefarious stuff going on in video games, and especially I think especially mobile gaming, that would be a great place to start, because that's kind of where this is all stemmed from.
As long as it's not pay to win, as long as you don't pay to win, pay for items that makes you stronger, things like that, then I'm all right with it. As long as it's cosmetic items you can buy, then I don't mind, because you don't have to. Then it's only because you want to. It's because you want to look like a fairy princess and not.
But Marty, back in vanilla Warcraft, you used to just play the game and you would unlock stuff. You didn't have to go buy it. You didn't have to go into the shop and buy it. You had to go and get it. You had to go out in the world and get it.
Yeah, and you will still have to, because in World of Warcraft back in the days, the stuff you unlocked was gear items, so you could get stronger. So my argument still applies.
Yeah, this is something we could go deep into. Maybe
I think we've already done that before.
Yeah. We've done that.
Maybe it's a good subject for that other podcast that we do.
Yeah, something on Nerd Dis, which we talk about nerdy stuff.
Someone should write that down.
Yeah, write it down, Michael. Write it down.
I have to click a keyboard. I can't do it.
All right. Before we get out of here, we have the Discord question of the week.
It's not called that, Marty. It's just called Ask Us a Question.
Ask us a question.
We've branded it as Ask Us a Question. We can't call it Discord Question of the Week because then people will expect one every week.
And they'll get
And I don't know if we
confused.
could deliver.
You're confusing the fan
Oh,
base.
so you can also ask questions other places. It doesn't have to only be Discord. Is that what you're saying?
No, this one is specifically for Discord.
Okay.
But it's called Ask Us a Question.
Okay.
Discord.
Are you confused as well? Tune in next week. All right. Flame Flash is asking you, Michael, if you were in Ashera's place, would you accept the offer so you could live, demand like she did, or allow yourself to perish?
My answer contains way too many tentacles to be even comfortable with giving an answer to any of them, because would I allow myself to perish? No. Do I want to die by tentacles? No. Do I want to accept an offer to turn into like a tentacle sea witch? No. So I don't know. I'd probably demand myself, yeah, you know what, Nazaf, I'll help you, but don't turn me into this thing, okay? Don't give me tentacle hair. Maybe we can just settle with, I kind of just stay how I am, and that way nobody's gonna think I'm a bad guy. Just I'll go undercover. I'll stay as a human, still get my rep bonus, and I'll swim back up, and I'll just I'll live among them for 10,000 years off, and then we'll come up with something. That's what I would demand. Probably wouldn't be happy. He turned me into some weird fish thing, and I'd probably be in the same position as Queen Ashara.
And really quick, I'd like to apologize to the Twitch chat because my audio was not a part of it, so they didn't hear my answer. All I did was say I would accept the offer, pretty much. There.
And I would say I've lived for over 1,000 years. It's fine. I'm ready to go.
Oh, just admit defeat right there.
Whoa.
That's how I feel now, and I'm not even 40.
Marty wants the tentacles. Marty just wants to get.
He wants the
No,
tentacles.
I want to perish.
Okay.
I want to perish.
Oh, you want to perish?
Yeah, he wants to go. He wants to swim with
I've
the
lived
fishes
for
for
over
life.
1,000 years. It's fine. Just kill me. Get it over with.
But if you're
I
living
mean,
for
that's how I-
1,000 years, do you think you'd be content at that point? Like you live 1,000
I don't-
years and you're like, no, I don't want to.
I'm content. I'm content now. I'm not even 40. I lived a good life.
Well, you got like what, 5 days?
5 left. Do I have 5 days left? Yes.
Oh, I meant until
Finally.
40.
Oh, okay. No.
Man, great answer, Michael. I mean, if only Twitch chat had heard your answer, it would have changed people's lives.
Some people
so if
can't.
you-
Some people can't handle it. Okay, so I didn't want to drive them mad with the whispers that I came up with.
And if you want to find out Michael's answer, you're gonna have to go back and listen to the podcast version of this show.
Yeah.
And trust me, it was worth it. Definitely do that.
But you got to start from the beginning and listen all the way through. You can't just skip.
Gated content by the Blue Recluse. Eat that one, Blizzard.
Lost orders! Lost orders!
Oh, press that button.
Press that button.
That one.
There we go.
All the
Otherwise,
buttons are
otherwise I
broken.
was dancing.
All
to,
the buttons
I
are
was dancing to
broken.
silent. I was like, this is weird. I'm just pointing and dancing. Silence.
All right. So, what are we talking about? That bell. That means we're about to close the bar. We're about to get out of here. But before that, we have a few things we quickly want to throw out there in your ears, and that is that Tom, you were a special guest on a special show with a special person this week.
Yes, I was on Whispers of War with Syl, who was on our show last week. And we talked a lot about Battle for Azeroth, surprisingly. So sat down with Syl and talked a lot of good stuff, and really enjoyed that. And
Did you whisper?
I didn't whisper. I spoke in my normal voice because that's what you should do when you're podcasting. and I had a lovely time. So I would definitely recommend checking that out. And I know there's someone else in this show that may have visited the Whispers of War as well.
I have.
You have, yeah, but nobody cares about that. Michael,
I may have made an appearance.
did you sign an NDA? Can you say if you've?
I'm
Can
not
you
allowed to officially report on it yet.
Okay, so you can't say if Syl has completed the set.
I can't say that she has, but what I can say is that she has.
Oh, I think it was better when Twitch chat couldn't hear you.
All right. Lastly, I also want to quickly say that the latest episode of Nerd This that we did was about the Gamescom and what
The
we thought.
Gamescom.
The
The
Gamescom.
Gamescom.
Yeah, not any, just any Gamescom.
the
He's at that
Gamescom.
age now
Yeah.
where everything is like the Nintendo or the Pokemon.
Yeah, we talked about what we thought was cool and what we didn't think was cool, and you can find that over at nerdthispodcast.com. Maybe a little teaser, slight spoiler is that on Monday's show we will be talking about books.
Books.
And how we like
Books.
to turn the pages and how they feel in our fingers.
And how they smell.
Man.
And how you sometimes get paper cuts.
Stay around because after the show we have the freshly report. Let us know your thoughts about anything we talked about on this episode, or if you have your own questions, feel free to contact us. Tom, how do people do that? And please don't please slow it down because I need to find the latest freshly report.
Okay, so you can email the show at thebluereclusepodcast@gmail.com. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at the Blue Recluse. Join the conversation. Head on over to thebluerecluse.eu/discord and chat with us about Blizzard games. Maybe leave us a question like Flame Flash did this week. That's Ask Us a Question, our very new segment, which we created, and it has an awesome name. And also iTunes reviews. Some people still do that. Some people don't. It's pretty cool.
should.
You should do that. You should do that. Definitely. We also have a Patreon. We do. It's over at patreon.com/the Blue Recluse. And you can find all that information, including our show notes for this episode, including that link for the digital comics, all in one place. And more on our website, thebluerecluse.eu or thebluerecluse.com, because we like to give you two options. We like to just do that. And I hope I've killed enough time for you, Marty. I hope you're ready for the Frasley report, because I've heard this week it's incredible.
You know every morning what I love to eat? A bowl of delicious, wait, what is that product called again? Gnome Loops. That's right, a bowl of delicious Gnome Loops. These sugar-laden mechanostrider-shaped pieces taste great with chocolate milk. You know the coolest part? Unlike other cereal, it is all marshmallows. No more having to dig out the marshmallows. Pick up a box today from your local vendor.
Welcome to the Frasley Report, a short news report by me, Frasley, the awesome gnome, to deliver your World of Warcraft news. I hope everyone has been enjoying Battle for Azeroth. I know I sure have. The Ashara cinematic that was released was amazing! I love the feel. N'Zoth is so creepy. I always knew something was watching me. Things have been happening recently, so I've been in the studio late at night recording these episodes, and things happen. Like you'll hear a sound, but no one's there. Like that. That's probably nothing. That is probably just the air conditioner system. It always likes to act up here. Okay, now I know that's real. Who's out there?
Rasley, look into the food you're eating.
Oh, these goldfish? Nothing's Oh my gnome! What is happening? This goldfish is looking at me.
I am Ugath, the god that makes you vendor things on accident, crashes WoW, and makes your add-ons break.
That seems like a pretty ridiculous set of skills, if I may be so bold as to say that, Ugoth. Plus, I can't believe you with that voice.
Silence, mortal! You shall not laugh at my powers. Don't you remember when you vendored your weather-beaten fishing hat for the second time, and you could not get it back?
Wait, you did that?
Yes, Yes, and I can offer you much more power too.
Oh, yeah. What power can the god that makes add-ons break do for me? I mean, Nazoth has some pretty cool skills. That whole empire and such.
I can make your add-ons never break. I know you use quite a few add-ons. Are you tired of the Lua errors? They will never break again. Not even after a patch.
Ugoth, what do I have to do to sign up? Blood oath? Give you a kidney? Sacrifice my first old deer raid loot to you?
Oh no, you don't have to do anything that extravagant. Just click this link in this email, and it will download into your computer.
Ugoth, there's a pop-up that says if an old god who has wimpy powers is asking you to download this program, don't click yes, or you are out of your mind. What do I do?
Don't worry about that. Just click the button that says, I am sure that I am out of my mind.
Okay.
Excellent, my puppet. Now finish the report.
This has been the Fraser Report. Until next time, be awesome. Oh, and make sure to click all links from old gods and emails that come your way. Check your inbox in the next 5 minutes. It might have gone to spam.
You know every morning what I love to eat? A bowl of delicious... Wait. Sorry, you heard this ad at the beginning of the episode. I got my podcast ads mixed up. Here's the other ad for this episode. We thought of putting 5 in the middle of the episode. You know the standard podcast ad formula. 7 60-second ads for every 1 minute of audio.
Ready for a high-intensity music extravaganza? Recluse Pizza is proud to present the most insane festival ever, the Pineapple on Pizza Rock Concert. Here only for bands that love pineapple on pizza. As all other bands stink. Get tickets at your local Galactic box office today.
This show is brought to you by Dragon Powered Studio. Find more at dragonpoweredstudio.com.